Today's show is sponsored by the ABV Barrel Shop. The ABV Barrel Shop is located in the St. Louis metro community of Arnold, Missouri, and is the world's first single barrel only liquor store. This business is owned and operated by Steve Akeley and Jim Fosnot. Head over to abvbarrelshop.com to sign up for their email and text distribution list. That way you'll know what they have in stock, what classes are coming up, and what barrel picks they have in the works. We are also sponsored by The Bar to Go. The Bar to Go offers a fully customizable carrying case that allows you to take your favorite distilled spirits or cocktail ingredients with you. Whether you're looking for yourself, a customized gift, or logo items for your business or event, The Bar to Go can help. Check them out at thebar2go.com. Use the number 2 when you type out The Bar to Go. Did you know Neely Family Distillery now ships its popular distilled spirits directly to you? To order, simply call 859-394-3258. Tell them the ABV Network sent you. And now, on to the show.
Let's drink!
Hey gang, it's just me here in the studio today, and it is, a sad day and a happy day at the same time. Sad in that it wraps up our week dedicated to Danny. I do think it's been a fun week to revisit all the memories of the great shows and entertainment that he's given all of us. He was just an awesome guy, and he really, truly enjoyed being on the Bourbon Daily. It's been a fun thing to understand how much it meant to him. I mean, it's not like, we would sit down and talk about that, or, we're guys, so we don't talk about our feelings or anything like that. But you find out after the fact, talking with his children, talking with his wife, Misty, that it meant a lot to him. And I'll tell you, the day that it came out, when his obituary came out, and it said he was a member of the ABV Network, I lost it. Here in the shop, I was at the ABV Network, ABV Barrel Shop, and it was not a good day. It was just Jim and I in here at the time, thankfully. And it's been tough. I mean, he's such a good guy. And, I'm a guy who started a podcast, and I wanted it to mean something to people. I wanted people to like it. I wanted it to become part of their daily routine, but I didn't know the impact it's going to have on people. And it's been such a joy to understand what it has meant to people and what it continues to mean to people. And Danny was a big part of that. He meant a lot to people. You come on the show and you deliver these funny moments that become part of your morning when you're driving to work or whatever it is. Whenever you listen to the Bourbon Daily and you get a guy like Danny that comes in and can just deliver you some mindless entertainment, it's fun. And, it truly, he fit exactly what we're trying to do. And what we're going to be talking about today, and I'll be playing all the versions of his bumpers. So if you don't know what a bumper is, it's literally a little bit that brings you back from a different part of the show. It's supposed to kind of snap you back to attention. So it would be like, striking a gavel and saying the verdict is in the courtroom or something like that. It's supposed to make sure that you're paying attention. And, and what we've always done is when we come out of commercial, we have fans of the ABV Network do these. And we don't normally set out to record these, just as a specific event. But when we're having like a holiday party, or sometimes we have happy hours online, those type of things, I'll just say, hey, I want to record some bumpers. Does anybody want to record them? And that's how we come out with most of them. Now, a couple of these are just funny moments from the show where it's like, I got to save these. I got to preserve these. I don't want them to get lost in a show somewhere. And so sometimes that stuff happens, and, you're like, that was a funny moment. What show was that on again? And there's no way to search for it. So by doing this, by pulling them out of there, it allows me to, remember them and things like that. And at this point, it's like, what do you do with them? With Danny being gone now, I don't know what the answer is. I mean, it makes me happy to hear him, and that's why I have so many of Danny's, because I always enjoyed them. I mean, Danny, like everything on the podcast, he delivered with them, but I don't know, with him being gone, it's tough. As an artist, you want to maintain control of what you do, and Danny's not here to say, hey, you need to keep me in the show and keep doing those things. So, without that consent from him, and maybe if his kids who are now taking an interest in the things Danny did, maybe if they start listening to the shows, maybe they don't want Danny to disappear from the shows altogether. Obviously, we can't record with him anymore, but bumpers would be a way to keep him involved. So if I hear from them at some point, I would bring them back. But for right now, the idea is they're retired, but that isn't necessarily always forever. So maybe they're retiring like Brett Favre used to. He'd retire and then he'd come back a couple weeks later. I don't know. We'll see. So that's what the show is going to be about today. So what we'll do next, we'll take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to be playing some of those. I'll explain to you how each of them came about, what they are, were they things that were recorded specifically for the show? Are they moments from the show? We'll do that in just a few.
Let's talk about the people who make these shows happen. First up is the ABV Barrel Shop. It is the most unique shopping experience in the world of bourbon, as the ABV Barrel Shop only sells single barrels. Owners Steve Akeley and Jim Fosnot select. With over 100 distilleries on board to sell us barrels, we are home to the most unique and diverse barrel pick selections in the bourbon world. By signing up for our email, you will always know what we have in stock. In addition to the single barrels, we'll have a gift shop featuring ABV Barrel Shop as well as ABV Network merchandise. We are partnering with vendors like Art Eatables and Old Man Bay Signs to bring you unique items you can't find anywhere else. We will also have a 24-seat classroom where we are offering educational and fun classes like Breakfast and Bourbon, a series where we pair donuts and bourbon, customer barrel picks, and opportunities to learn from master distillers and other bourbon dignitaries. Best of all, we feature a tasting bar where you can try before you buy. All of this is located in the St. Louis metro community of Arnold, Missouri. If you are in the St. Louis area, please stop by to say hi. If you're traveling in from outside the area, please take advantage of our hotel rates with the Drury Inn and Pear Tree Inn, less than a mile from our shop. This can be done via the links in our Visit St. Louis section on our website. Head over to abvbarrelshop.com to plan your trip. The ABV Barrel Shop. It's where single barrels live. Hi, this is Steve Akeley, owner of the ABV Network. We're sponsored by the Stave and Thief Society. This is where you, a bourbon enthusiast, can expand your knowledge and emerge a bourbon steward. In 2017, I completed my Executive Bourbon Steward certification. It's the most comprehensive bourbon certification program available and connects you with an expansive network of bourbon enthusiasts and professionals. Check out the full listing of in-person and online certifications and join the society today by enrolling at staveandthief.com. Okay, let's talk about the Neely Family Distillery. In 2018, I met Royce Neely at an industry event. He started appearing on our shows, and we became friends during my frequent trips to Kentucky. Today, he is amongst the leaders of young distillers leaving their mark on the bourbon industry. A visit to Neely Family Distillery yields insight on their unique family history, why their products are special, and gives you the opportunity to taste their whiskey, moonshine, and creams. Check them out at NeelyFamilyDistillery.com or visit them in Sparta, Kentucky.
This is BR 549, and you're listening to the Bourbon Daily.
All right, everybody, welcome back. My name is Steve Akeley, and yes, here are the bumpers that Danny did for the show. I've got the list of all of them here. What do I got here? 2, 4, 6, 8 of them. So these I used heavily. I probably played Danny's bumpers more than anybody. So he was probably, if you listen to the Bourbon Daily on a regular basis, probably 2, 3, 4 times a week out of 7 shows. That's a lot. So I'm going to have to come up with new ones, and I have different ones for every day of the week, but I have them like in a list, and you always end up picking out your favorites, and Danny's were always some of the best ones. So the first one that I want to play for you is the first bumper that Danny ever recorded. You could see he hadn't quite got his mojo yet. So it was one of those deals where we were at a happy hour. It was online, and I said, does anybody want to record some intros? And what I need you to say is your name, and you're listening to the Bourbon Daily. And, people, we aren't professionals. These aren't voiceover announcers who do this every day for a living. So sometimes you get lost in it. So with this first one, you'll hear Danny start to do it, kind of get a little lost, not know what to say, but he laughs his way through it. And I liked it. And that's why I continue to use that one, even though someone could say that's an outtake. But for us, for the Bourbon Daily, that's part of the show.
Hello, this is Danny Kinnaird, and I'm recording on the ABV network.
The next one represents something that I don't necessarily like. So what I don't like, and I never want to become part of the Bourbon Daily, is anything that's fake. I don't like people to come on and do bits or be like, oh, I'm going to entertain the audience in this way. We're not professionals. If I was friends with, Robin Williams at the height of his success, yeah, just turn the guy loose and he's funny. He can do whatever he wants on the show. But our group aren't professional comedians. So don't try to be funny. Just natural life can be funny. And Danny there's no greater, example of that than Danny. So this is one where he did a bumper. And of course, this was after the Freddie Mills thing was already going on, where, he's got this second persona of Freddie Mills. And he does a little fake drunk thing. And again, while I don't like that, the idea of Danny acting is kind of funny in and of itself. So it ends up working. So here's Danny, fake drunk, Freddie Mills.
This is Danny Kinnaird, which is turning into Freddie Mills. Y'all have a good fucking day, because this is the Bourbon Daily. Thank you.
All right, this next one wasn't recorded as a bumper. It was part of a show, but it ended up being so iconic in that Danny shares his texting policy. And if you're a member of the Crew Club, which is kind of the inner circle of the ABV Network listeners, we have our own private Facebook group. And this one kind of took off in there, where we were laughing about Danny coming up with this texting policy of, hey, text me before you text me. Don't text me unless you text me before you text me. All this kind of stuff. We just had a lot of fun with it. One of the side notes is the business that's right next door to us is the spa, and they have a note on the door that says, before you get here, or knock on the door, please text us to let us know that you're here. And I said, Danny, did you write that policy? So we had a good laugh at that when that came up. But here it is. Here is Danny's famous text policy, something we should always use. And we would often do this from this point forward. Danny and I would be texting, hey, I'm getting ready to text you. And it was just something that we did. So Danny doesn't remember this. He didn't have a policy before this, but Freddie Mills apparently established this policy. Well, go ahead, Danny. Is there something you need to say?
Just sitting there saying that, plain and simple, if you're sending me to a text, you need to tell me you need to send it to me on a text. So
This next one is just a little sound clip from within a greater clip that is also used on the show. But it's just so good because I just like the way he says it. He says, Freddie Mills approves. So it comes from another bit that he has when he tries the tumbling dice, which we'll talk about that one in just a second here. So here it is, just a quick one that I'd play sometimes come in and out of break, just because it made me laugh every time I heard it.
Freddie Mills approves.
Here's another example of soundbite from a show. This wasn't set up to be anything where, he was reading or doing a bit or anything like that. This is literally part of a show. It's an ending of our Festivus show, which is December 23rd. We had done a show about Festivus, sharing traditions, and Danny passed out on the show. He was gone. And at the end of the show, Danny's not part of it. But as we're saying goodbye, a Festivus miracle happens. Danny arises and says, Happy Festivus to everyone. And I'll tell you what, it was the greatest Festivus ever. And we'll say this one in the shop all the time. When certain people like Rob Clairday comes in, he'll be like, Happy Festivus. It's just one of those things that we use. We say, it's one of the reasons why we love Danny. Here you go. Here's a very happy Festivus. You'll hear everyone saying goodbye. And all of a sudden, here comes Danny. All right. Great job today, gang. For audience, we'll have a brand new show for you tomorrow. We'll be mailing again, once again. Take care, everybody. See ya.
Happy Festivus.
Later.
Bye, guys.
Happy Festivus.
Cheers. Yeah, happy Festivus.
Of course, Freddie Mills. You can't have Danny Kinnaird without Freddie Mills. And this was the first time he introduced Freddie Mills after the drunk time or whatever. It was like take one. You have take one and take two. And this is, a good one. And again, I like it. It's part of the show. And here it is, Danny's take on being Freddie Mills.
This is also Freddie Mills going underneath the alias of Danny Kinnaird. You can find me on Facebook at any time. Just look up Danny Kinnaird, but I am Freddie Mills. Trust me.
All right, this next one just slays me. It is so funny because Danny kept talking about this Tumbling Dice, which is a source whiskey, and talked about how much he liked it. And I guess he had a single barrel, and that single barrel really hit home with him. But he buys a second bottle, and he hadn't tried it until the show. And he had been talking about this tumbling dice for weeks. So on the show, he tries it. And of course, he does the whole Freddie Mills approves. So, he's going through the whole thing. And then just as we're going out to break, he tries it because we do the cheers, and he tries it and tastes it. And he apparently didn't like it. It didn't fit as well as that first one did. His reaction is so funny. It's one of those deals where I was laughing so hard, I had to catch my breath. I mean, it just got me. So this was a great moment. Here you go. Here's Freddie Mills approved tumbling dice, or as he says at one point, tumble dice.
Danny, though, you are between Jim and victory. What do you got?
I have an Indiana rye
Sure, Danny.
tumble dice.
Cumble Dice. Yes, I love Cumble Dice. I'm sure that's the name of the brand, Cumble Dice. Sure.
Tumble dice.
Oh, Tumble Dice. Okay.
Yes.
Let's
Freddie Mills approves.
Okay. Freddie Mills approves.
So we're about to pop it.
No, that was all desk is what that was. All desk, no pop. Jim wins. So Jim, you got it there, man.
Hey.
Congrats, Jim.
Cheers, gang.
Oh my God, this is horrible.
I love this one because the best part about it for me is the laughter from Danny. So as we're doing some of these things at an event, online type of thing, Lenny's on there, Danny's on there, a whole group of other people. They're taking turns, they're doing their bumpers and things like that. And Lenny says, I'd like to do one. And he does one, and he says his name is Freddie Mills, and everyone loses it. But as I listen to this again, and what means so much to me as I listen to it this time around is all the laughter, but you can hear Danny's laughter the loudest, and that just cracked me up. So there you go. Here is Lenny telling everyone that he is Freddie Mills.
This is Freddie Mills, and you're listening to the Bourbon Daily.
From a joke performance, again, I don't like people doing bits, but I think Danny nailed this one. This is one where he says, he's Freddie Mills. He's actually Danny Kinnaird. If you want to look up who Freddie Mills is, look up Danny Kinnaird. He's not Freddie Mills, but he is Danny Kinnaird. Trust me, though, he's Freddie Mills. The way he says it is perfect. It blows your mind if you sit there and try to keep up with it. And you know what? If you chart it out, it actually works. Danny knew what he was doing here. I love this one. It's the last one. This is the one where he does talk about being Freddie Mills, and it is perfection. So here you go.
This is also Freddie Mills going underneath the alias of Danny Kinnaird. You can find me on Facebook at any time. Just look up Danny Kinnaird, but I am Freddie Mills. Trust me.
Well, there you go. There are our Danny bumpers. Again, I've enjoyed using those for years now, and Danny contributed so many ways. This, of course, wraps up the week as well. It doesn't mean we forget about Danny. We'll always think about Danny, probably every day of my life. As long as I live from this point forward, I'll think about Danny. He was a great friend. I'll miss him. And I also will look back fondly on the laughs that we had. Danny was a great guy. He literally is a person that would do anything for you. And I can attest to that. He helped me out. He helped my mom out. He helped us out at the shop. Danny was a great man, gone far too early at the age of 45. We'll miss him. I'll miss him. And Danny, love you, man.
Before we finish the show, let's talk about some great companies that support the ABV network. First up is Moonshine Still Pro. Moonshine Still Pro has a full line of products to help the home distiller. Whether you want to experiment on the stove in your kitchen or you're looking for a bigger setup in your backyard, owner Russell Creed and his team can help. They have multiple still offerings, accessories, and even grain from their partners at Goldstone Mill to assist you in making whiskey on par with your favorite distillery. They can also help you with some fabricated parts you probably can't make yourself if you are attempting a DIY still project. Learn more or order your still or parts at moonshinestillpro.com. Another friend of ours is the Goldstein family at Goldstone Mill. The Goldsteins offer a variety of heritage and heirloom grains to make the finest whiskeys in the world. Plus, they are more than just a grain company. They are truly consultants to make sure the grains they are providing to you or your business meet your highest expectations. Additionally, they work with mills around the country ensuring shipping is as low as possible for their customers. If you're a distillery, brewery, or even doing this at home, Goldstone can assist you. Check them out at goldstonemill.com, call them at 217-254-6613, or check in via email at hello@goldstonemill.com. Last but not least is the ABV Barrel Shop. While we don't get to play in the allocated bourbon game because we aren't selling the other products you have to do to get those, we do have access via our friendships in the bourbon industry to some really cool stuff. Have you ever seen your favorite craft distiller selling some really cool limited offerings only in their gift shop? I'm talking things like the hazmat offering Distillery 291 did for their 10th anniversary, or Neely Family Distillery's Papaw's birthday barrel. They don't have enough of it to send it out to distributors, so they only sell it via their gift shop. Well, companies like Distillery 291 and Neely Family Distillery have agreed to sell us 2 or 3 cases of these offerings moving forward, meaning our store will have the access to some of the rarest whiskeys in the world. Way more difficult to come by than the allocated bourbon offerings with a national release. Yes, they will be extremely tough to come by, but if you're a customer of our store, you'll have a chance to get them. Get signed up for our email or text list over at abvbarrelshop.com so you don't miss out.
The Bourbon Daily is part of the ABV Network. For more information or to become a sponsor, please visit abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening and cheers.
This has been a Steve Akeley production.